Hi, welcome or welcome back if you're new here. My name is Jodie, artist name MillieJo, and this week we're back with another Becoming Her conversation. And the subject of this week's video is how it's actually like to take a break from school, aka a gap year. So I used to be an architecture student and I took my gap year in January of 2025 because I wanted basically to figure out what I truly wanted to do in life, if I was walking on the right path, and a lot of other things that we're gonna dive in the video that we're gonna learn more about. So keep watching till the end if you don't want to miss out on my experience and my recommendations when you take a gap year. So basically we're gonna dive right into it. The first subject that we're gonna talk about is actually why I took a gap year. So I just mentioned it, I used to be an architecture student, and the reason why I chose architecture, it was after high school. I was 17. I was doing researches on what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, like a lot of us. What I knew is that I liked maths and physics. I was a creative kid. I liked art, so I was like, okay, I could go in architecture, and I'm skipping a lot of parts here. I did consider other stuff, but architecture is what I chose. So I got into the program, and it was actually a very nice program, but the more time was advancing, the more I was like, I don't think that's for me. I don't think that's for me. But I met great people, I made great friends, and that really kept me going. But for the last year that I was, my fourth year in architecture, that's when I realized that I was not living the kind of life that I truly wanted to live, and I was not going in a way that I truly wanted to, because like I said, I was a creative kid and I had a lot of projects that I wanted to work on and a lot of things that I could envision myself doing in the future when I was thinking about a creative aspect. But when I was thinking about architecture, I couldn't really picture it truly. Maybe I really lied to myself to make me feel like if maybe I could do this. I mean, you can do everything that you want to, right? You can do everything that you put your mind into, but I was like, is this what I want to do? Is this what I actually want to do? And I got tired of living like a sub character in my own story, of watching myself live a life that I didn't want to do, of always saying that I wanted to do something that I loved in my life, that I liked in my life, but I was literally walking somewhere that I didn't want to go. I wanted to basically be the main character of my life, and that's what made me take this gap year. And fortunately, I have amazing parents, and they really supported this decision for me to figure out what I actually wanted to do. So I made the decision, I took the gap year, and now I had all this time on my hands, so I had to figure out what I was going to do during my gap year. And this is the second subject. What do you do during a gap year with all this time that you have now that you're not going to school anymore? So for me, on my part, one of the main thing was really that I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do, but it wasn't like just dark for me. I already had ideas of stuff that I wanted to do, maybe not necessarily in the long run. That was why I took the gap year, right? But I said I was a creative kid, and I'm still a creative, I'm still super creative. I wanted to publish my book that I had been working on since I was 14. I wanted to open my small business and to focus more on my YouTube channel. So I started the gap year with this in mind, with not really a plan, but I knew I wanted to work on this stuff because that's what was taking all my attention. While I was in class, I was thinking of doing that. So of course, that's what I wanted to work on. So I think that when you take a gap year, one of the most important things is actually to figure out what you want to do after. Are you going to go back to school, or are you going to follow another passion that you have? And if you have project you wanted to start or that you wanted to finish, taking a gap year can be really a good way to do that. But of course, if you're not really well prepared, there's a lot of mistakes too that you can make during a gap year, and I'm gonna talk about a bit how to avoid them since I went through that. So the first thing that I would highly recommend is kind of to be prepared. Now I know the plan, like when you take a gap year, you kind of want to relax, and this is something that you really want to do. You want to relax because you finally have the time to do it, do what you want to do. That's what also the gap year is about. You have to take your break, you have to relax, right? But I think you should really have somewhat of a plan. I'm not telling you to plan every single month of your gap year, you're gonna do this, unless that's what you like to do. But if that's not what you are, like your MBTI, you're definitely a P and not a J. Well, what I'm saying right now can be scaring you. But what I'm meaning here is that you should be prepared, because if you're not, you won't know what to do with all this time that you have. And if you have a lot of things that you want to do, maybe you're just gonna be like unprepared and mix everything together, so not really finishing anything. So that brings us to like focusing on one thing. I'm a multi-passionate person, so I often do a lot of things at the same time because I like a lot of things. So when I get bored of that thing, I do that thing and then I come back to it. That's the type of person that I really was, and that I still consider myself to be, but I'm conscious of it, so I am not doing it. Okay? So I think that one of the biggest mistakes that I did, but I don't necessarily regret it, is that exactly because I love to do so many things. The first thing that I did is actually publishing my book like I wanted to do, but then when it came to doing marketing for it and selling it, it became like a chore. So then I went to working on my small business and working on YouTube all in the same time, and then going back to my book. So it was a bit messy, but because I did that, because I did all those things at the same time, and really the goal of taking this gap year, of taking this break, is to figure out what you truly want to do. I was able to try a lot of different things, and that brought me to figuring out what I wanted to do for my life, which is to become a writer, to be an author. And this is something that we're gonna dive in a bit deeper in the next video on this channel, which is gonna be starting over. So if you want the rest of this conversation, if you want to dive deeper in how do you figure out what you want to do, well, I recommend you to subscribe to not miss that video, because we're going to talk about starting over and how scary and messy it can be, but how you can actually figure out what you want to do for your life and start over. But back to what we were saying, even though like I went through all that because I was doing everything together, but if you focus on only one thing and you pursue that thing, let's be real here, like if you do 3 things at the same time, your pace might be like this. But if you do like one thing, then your pace is going to be like this. You know, you're going to finish this thing that you're working on. But when your attention is like divided in a lot of things, it makes things a bit more complicated. So I would recommend to take a time to try out stuff and then make a decision and follow this one thing and achieve this thing. Pursue only one thing at a time. That's what I would recommend. And of course, for that, you need preparation. Here I'm going to talk about how I would prepare myself if I had to start over. If I had to, like, if I could start over me taking this gap year, how I would prepare myself. The thing, if I could go back, that I would tell myself is to not doubt, do not doubt yourself. That's the worst thing that you can do, because making the decision to take a gap year when all of your friends and family, everybody is advancing in life, and you just feel like you stopped yours. You're not going to school anymore. You're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. Well, everybody seems to have figured it out and they keep advancing, but like, don't trust the illusion. Like, everybody is trying to figure out what they want to do in life, and some people just keep advancing, and sometimes they feel the same way that you did before taking your gap year, but they just keep going even though they felt that way. And often people who ignore this feeling, I feel like it's later in life when you're gonna be working in this job that you studied so hard for, but you didn't truly like or wanted to do. You're gonna hit a wall later on. So I feel like taking this break when you're younger, taking this break before making these big decisions, really can help you avoid hitting this wall. But it's difficult because, like, for myself, I had some friends too who took a gap year like me, but I knew no one who was considering not going back to school, not going back to their program. And that's what I was considering, like not going back to school, you know? And I started doubting myself. I started doubting, did I make the good decision? Like, everybody is advancing and I'm here. Nothing that I do is actually working out. Like, I'm like, am I good enough to do this? So I started to really doubt myself. And you know, your words shapes your reality. So when you doubt yourself and you're hesitant, of course it shows in what you do. No matter what decision that you make, if other people think it's a bad decision, or that you think maybe it's not the best decision, but it's a decision that you made, like, own it. Own it, trust yourself and like go 100% on it. And if you realize later that it wasn't the best decision, then change and own your new decision. You know, that's what you gotta do. And the other thing, I talked about not doubting yourself a lot, but the other thing that I would definitely do and recommend you to do if you don't know what to do during your gap year is to do a list. Do a list of things that you'd like to do. For myself, during my gap year, it was really a relaxation mode and trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life and working on my projects. So I had no big goals like traveling or stuff like that. But if this is something for you that you want to do, because you know that after your gap year you're gonna go back to school and you just really want to take this time to travel or to do things that you know you won't have time to do when you go back to school, I feel like if you do a list of these things that you want to accomplish, you will be intentional with what you want to achieve, so you'll achieve it. But if you just do like, oh, whatever, like I don't know, then if you wanted to travel, maybe you won't do it because you never were intentional with traveling. Now, the last subject, but not the least, that we're gonna talk about is what are the benefits of taking a gap year and why I think that everybody low-key should take one. I'm being a bit dramatic, but I feel like when you finish high school, trying to figure out what you want to do for your life is actually something that is difficult because you're literally a child. Like, did you know that your frontal lobe, like your brain, is not even done until you're like 24, 25? And we're asking you to make a decision for all your life when you don't necessarily know yet who you are. And I feel like taking a gap year, literally even like after high school, just to learn new skills or just to try and understand better what you truly want, taking a year off and spend time with yourself and do things that you like. Maybe it's gonna open doors and now you're gonna know what program you actually like and not just choose a program because you have to choose one to keep going because all your friends are doing that, so you're doing it too. Taking a gap year can really help you know yourself better, and since you're not advancing at the same pace that everyone, you're not comparing yourself to them, and you're not telling yourself that, oh, okay, I should go to school because everybody's doing it. Oh, I should keep doing this even if I don't really like it because everybody's doing it and I don't want to be left behind. Like, you have less distractions and you can actually focus on what you truly want to do for your life. And that's really the best benefits. I feel like I spent a lot of time with myself and I really came to understand myself better, to know what I want in life, to know what I want to do and what is success for me, how I see success for me, how I see success in my life without the distraction of how the society think that we should advance in life. So yeah, if you are thinking of taking a gap year or if you're actually in your gap year, I think that is actually a great decision that you made for yourself and you should really own it. Don't doubt yourself and do what you truly want to do. Figure it out and live life the best way you think it is, the best way that you think it is to live your life. So this is actually the end of this Becoming Her episode. I hope you liked it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And like I mentioned earlier, if you don't want to miss the part 2, stay tuned because we're gonna dive in on how you figure out what you want to do in your life and how it is to start over when you studied in that thing or that you thought that path was it for you, but you decided to do a 360 and now you're like, what do I do with my life? So if you don't want to miss that, again, subscribe. On this channel we talk self-improvement, purpose and creativity, and I am so very happy to welcome you into the journey. On that, I will see you besties in the next one. Bye bye.